How far is Hedera going to fall? We're going to take a look at that and try to answer that question at this very moment as we are looking at the daily chart for Hedera. Of course, with HBAR, you have been experiencing a fantastic run up since really the low back here around the 5th of February, about 0.067. And we have seen a fantastic rise. And this level right here was very important, as I mentioned in the video, as price was approaching it, this 0.085. And we broke through and closed above that level back on Sunday, February 18th, and then just absolutely blasted off the next day. And Hedera saw about a 30% gain in about 48 hours, which is always fantastic to see. We are, of course, seeing Hedera give back some of its gains as the altcoins across the board drift down. Just look here on the coins that I am watching. Every one of them are red. They were red yesterday and they were red the day before. Now, according to where TradingView starts the day, we are starting a new day about an hour and a half ago. So we're very new into the day, but we're still already red across the board. So the last 72 hours have been tough on altcoins, including Hedera. Now, the reason for that is this. It all has to do with Bitcoin. There is no doubt. Bitcoin is over 50% of the market cap of crypto. That is, if you add the value of all crypto besides Bitcoin, including Ethereum, Solana, Doge, Avalanche, Matic, DOT, all the top coins, if you add them all together, their value, they still do not equal the value of Bitcoin. Okay? So whatever Bitcoin does is going to affect these altcoins right now. I do have some good news for HBAR. I hope I will remember to tell it to you as we go through this analysis. Okay, here's how I explain it. Well, let's talk about Bitcoin right here. Bitcoin, you can see 52,000 roughly. We've been there for about a week after this fantastic rise that started back here around 38,000 and some change back on the 23rd of January. So we've seen a fantastic rise. There are no complaints here. Should be no complaints by anyone in watching Bitcoin. It's behaved fantastically, but the fact of the matter is we have stagnated here. What happens when Bitcoin stagnates? Well, as Bitcoin moves up, these altcoins stay level, and then a few days to a few weeks, randomly it seems, these altcoins will be picked up, one altcoin one day, another altcoin another day, and they will start to rise in accordance with Bitcoin because Bitcoin has been rising. But as Bitcoin levels off, which it has clearly done the past week, as I've shown, these altcoins lose their momentum. They lose their fuel of Bitcoin, which is what's pulling them higher, and they start to drift down. Okay. And what we are seeing is this drifting down of altcoins. That's just what we're seeing. Bitcoin is falling slightly. It's really not down that much. It's down about 2% from its most recent high of about 53,000, but it is falling somewhat, and you can see the damage it's causing across the board, including HBAR. You can see this level right here of 10. It's a nice big level, nice round number that we're watching. It is the next level, and HBAR has almost kissed it the last couple of days and seems to be falling toward it already today. And we'll have to see what the market is going to do there. Here is the thing I want to talk about that is good news for HBAR. There are some altcoins that react quicker and better to the Bitcoin rise. Okay, Bitcoin has risen the same amount, but the altcoins do not respond the same amount. Hate to pick on you Doge people, but Doge was late to the game as far as rising. It did not rise as much, and so it hit its level right here, right about the time Bitcoin went soft and leveled out, and now it was not able to break its critical level here of about 0.09, and it is drifting on down. Other coins have been that way, and HBAR has not been that way. HBAR took advantage 100% on the Bitcoin rise. It was going up the entire time. And of course, we've already talked about the absolute blast that it experienced over the last few days. And so when HBAR drifts down, look, we're still just taking back profits, or, kind of taking back the gains we made a few days ago. So we've got room to drift down and still be above, well, where we were about 3 or 4 days ago, whereas Doge and some other coins are going back to where they were 2 and 3 weeks ago. So that's the good news about HBAR. The point I guess I'm trying to make is compared to Bitcoin, HBAR made a more fantastic rise than other coins did. So it does mean its fall could be greater, but even we're looking now being above 0.1, and we hadn't even been at 0.1 since back around the 1st of January. So there is good news to HBAR in that it reacted well, and that is usually the sign of a healthy coin. I mean, it's just fact of the matter. Usually a sign of a healthy coin when it reacts quicker and further to these Bitcoin rises than its companions. So that's good news on HBAR. Okay, let's talk about Bitcoin here for a second. We do have this situation coming up. The situation is a very generally bullish scenario. The halving coming up in April 20th estimated. Generally, what happens before the halving, the price action that we see before the halving is a run up, which we've obviously seen here. And then about 4 to 6 weeks before the halving, we actually see a retrace 10, 20, sometimes 30%. A 20% retrace would bring us down here to 40 to the 45 area, somewhere around here. And then we usually consolidate through the halving, and a few weeks, couple months, whatever, after the halving, Bitcoin takes off and we begin in earnest what is known as the bull run. Okay. So people are asking now, since we are definitely wrestling with this 52,000 and we are coming up to the point at which pre-halving historically we start to retrace, they are starting to ask, as Wolf of Wall Street does, one that I follow on Twitter, is asking, Bitcoin is correcting. Is the pre-halving top in, or is there more upside to come? And how far can Bitcoin correct? He tries to answer that with a guest of his on YouTube. If you'd like to go listen to that, I'm sure it would be very valuable. I have not had a chance to listen to his theory yet, but I just wanted to point out the fact that this is the historical price of Bitcoin before halving, and people recognize that and are asking the question, are we about to enter the Bitcoin retrace pre-halving phase? So, my point in all that is not to scare you, but to prepare you. If you see Bitcoin over the next few days break this level, it's basically 50,000. You could see it 50,000. You could also see it technically, it's this gray level right here, which the top of this gray level is the bottom of these wicks that have kissed this level over the last week, and the top of these wicks back on the 12th and 13th. But roughly it's 50,000. If you see Bitcoin break 50,000 and carry on down below 50,000 into the 48s, do not be surprised. Do not fear. Do not be antsy. Nobody likes to see it. We never want to see our coins go down and the value of our crypto fall. We never want to see that. We never want to see red days. But I'm just telling you, don't let it affect your behavior. We are in some of the most exciting times for Bitcoin, crypto, and HBAR in particular coming up that we've ever seen in 2024 and 2025. You can look around and see all the strength in Bitcoin, crypto, institutional money coming into Bitcoin like crazy to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars a day. We are in a fantastic place for crypto. And I think Lady Crypto here, who I also follow on Twitter, says it very well when she says, don't overcomplicate the next 18 months. Your job is to accumulate, hold, and take profit heavily in 2024, which is the assumed end of this upcoming bull run that we may already be in. We'll just have to look back historically and see. It's kind of one of those things you don't know it until after you've gone through it. But definitely through the halving, we are expecting a fantastic run up to the highs of Bitcoin in 2024. And that's going, the way HBAR has reacted to this rise, there's some things we'll watch. We'll watch how HBAR reacts as Bitcoin starts its move post halving up through, hopefully up to the 70,000 level. And then along comes quote unquote altcoin season once Bitcoin tops out and the money starts flowing into these altcoins. And that's when the real gains start happening in the altcoins. And so, look, there's nothing, hopefully, but blue skies ahead. That is what the weatherman tells us. And so these little drops, and they may not be little, they can be painful. These drops we see along the way can be painful. Do not let them affect your behavior. HBAR is a fantastic place to be. Hold on, both hands. Don't be crazy. Relax. Be patient. There's good days ahead. I firmly believe that. And you are off, if you're in HBAR, you're better off than many that are in other coins right now. So consider yourself blessed and enjoy the ride best you can. All right, y'all take care. Come back. I will keep you updated on Hedera.